Hello, darlings. I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. I had trouble, connecting. Me and IT, yeah, we're best of friends. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll see if a couple of people jump on. Well, before I do get into it, I actually want to state that from our circle on Monday evening that I had amazing breakthroughs, and it was a personal issue I was dealing with, and it was a bit of drama, karma, bullshit stories going on that I'd co-created with someone who means a lot to me, and we managed to break through that and have a quantum leap and jump out of that dynamic. So thank you so much for holding the space for me to be able to do that, or assist me to do that. It's something I've worked on for a very long time. So it was wonderful, and great for everybody involved. So thank you so much, girls. It just demonstrates the power of this, and as we hold intentions for one another and support each other energetically, and focus on that, is that it raises us up and gives us the confidence and the energy and the expansion and the love to follow through with my boundaries. So thank you. I wanted to share that with you all. Okay, so boundaries, let's get into it. I can't see anyone on at the moment, but then my phone is a little bit not playing correctly. So if you are on, let me know that you're here and say hi. So let's talk about boundaries. Basically, what are they? Boundaries are things that you establish. They're guidelines on that you create so other people know how to treat you, know how to respond to you. So basically, boundaries are things that, what is okay for you and what is not okay for you. All right. Now, I will be attaching a PDF. There's 3 pages. I've taken 3 pages out of the manual from the Quick Start Divine Feminine Reset program that is on boundaries, that section. So I've taken 3 pages out of that section. I will be putting them in files up the top of this closed group, so you can go and have a look at it. And give it a read. It will help consolidate this information I'm going to take you through quickly today. So boundaries are, what's okay and what's not okay. Now, the other thing too with this is that boundaries actually really support you to become the powerful manifester that you really are, that you're born to be. Without boundaries, and this is something that I learnt the hard way, without boundaries, you can't manifest powerfully. You can't draw to you, the relationships or the love that you deeply desire. You can't draw to you the financial abundance that you desire. You can't draw the experiences that you want to have in your life that you deeply desire without boundaries. Because when you don't have boundaries, you are actually reacting to life. You are reacting to other people's expectations. You are reacting to how other people treat you instead of standing, or instead of being really firm and strong in your power and having clear, strong boundaries. Because when you stand firm in your boundaries with love and strength, okay, people will be drawn to you, be like a magnet, and you will clearly know when to let something go, when to allow something in. You will know what will support you, what won't support you. And it puts you in a very powerful position. Now, I also know, if you were like me, I was never taught about boundaries. And I don't think many of us women are. I think we're deeply conditioned to martyr ourselves in the name of love and in the name of being a nurturer. I think we're just not taught how to do this. And a lot of the time too, there's this underlying energy in our society, but not just in society, no matter what culture you're in, but globally. There's this underlying energy that it's scary to be a powerful woman. Now, boundaries will allow you to be quietly powerful. Boundaries put you in the driving seat of your life. And it's about implementing your boundaries with that quiet strength and deep self-respect and speaking your truth with love. Okay? So how do you go about that? this is what I want to share with you today. So now we're getting into the actual teaching, and I want you to practice a little bit of this today, okay? So I want you to write down just today, or as many as you want actually, but start with 2 or 3 boundaries. I'm just going to pull up the file that I'm going to attach for you guys in this group because it's in there. So make sure you download it and have a look at it. So it's on page 2, and I've got, write down 2 or 3 boundaries today and start thinking about, and there's some examples here. So start thinking about, how would you like to be spoken to and treated? What is your boundary on that? How do you want your emotions or your beliefs to be received by others? So write those things down. How do you want to be treated? How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to spend your money? So start looking at those things. So for example, if you're like, how do I want to be spoken to and treated? Well, I have a personal boundary that I have 0 tolerance for name calling, for aggression in communication. That is a boundary for me. If I experience that, I speak my truth with love, and I say I cannot continue this conversation until we come to a respectful communication space. Now, if that other person continues, I walk away. This is how boundaries protect you. If I did not have that boundary, I would actually find myself feeling overwhelmed with the other person's, projections or aggression and name calling. I would start to doubt myself and feel really contracted and shrink into myself. I know this because this is how I've done it in the past. Plus, I'd be very sensitive, and I would actually be very wounded in my heart of how other people are treating me. So a boundary of, for example, I have a strong boundary that people speak to me with respect, no name calling, no aggression, and it's equally shared, so that give and take of that respectful communication through conflict or through expressing different opinions. And when that doesn't occur, when someone is not matching me energetically in that space, well, not just energetically, hey, if someone's not matching me on my boundary, I clearly state to them, I'm not continuing this conversation until, things start to settle down, or you speak to me with respect. And there's no name calling and there's no aggression. And that there doesn't have to be a right and a wrong, and no one has to win or lose. But I do expect this conversation to flow and for each of us to be heard. If that doesn't occur, I walk away. Okay, now without boundaries, so I think that's a really good, reasonable, grounded example, and something I'm sure everyone can relate to. So without boundaries, what will happen is that actually you end up being blown away around in the wind, in a washing machine, around and around you go. You are susceptible to what other people are projecting. You are susceptible to how other people's expectations are of you. You will give your power away. All right. Now, when you are coming from a reactory space in your life, and when you give your power away, you cannot manifest. Well, you can, but you will not manifest powerfully and in strength and in your truth. And you will find yourself that you'll be quite sensitive, you'll be feeling heartbroken and disappointed, and around and around and around we go. I'm sure a lot of people, if not everyone, can relate to that. So today, what I want you to do is just think about boundaries in certain areas of your life. So how do you want to be treated, and how do you want communication to occur? How do you want your beliefs and opinions to be received by others? How do you want to be treated? I've already said that, sorry. How do you want to spend your time, and how do you want to spend your money? Okay? So just jot them down. Now the challenge comes in here is that when we find ourselves, because we break into patterns of behavior, okay, and when you actually implement your boundaries, you're going to notice how people, the lack of boundaries that you've had in whatever area, in a certain area, and you will start to see how people are reacting to you. And it takes a lot of self-love and courage and strength to stay committed to your boundaries, okay? You will, and most people are very challenged on this to begin with, until you practice and you start to, just start to trust that you are fully supported to implement your boundaries. Because certain people won't be able to meet you in your boundaries, and you will let them go in your life. And that can be pretty scary and confronting. But can you see, and I want to really get this point across, is please don't be scared of that, because can you see when you let them go, you're actually shifting your vibration, and you're putting it out there to the universe that this is you want the people in your life, you're drawing the people to your life who will treat you with respect, okay? And so letting go of the old is allowing the new to come in. The universe loves clarity. Absolutely loves clarity. So the clearer you are, the quicker it's going to show up. So your boundaries are really going to help you to draw what you deeply desire much quicker, okay? So it's normally the fear that stops us, and fear that stops us. So I really want to encourage you to write down 2 to 3 boundaries if you're just starting out. Play with them, experiment with them, practice with them, and know that certain things may fall away from your life. The other magical thing that will happen, I've experienced both of these. I've had things fall away in my life, and then I've experienced the other end, and this is magic, and this is where it's beautiful and it's divine. So when you stand in your power and you speak your boundaries with love, other people have a choice. They either have a choice to meet you in that space or not. Now, you will experience other people rising up to meet you in that space. And that's when it gets really magical and beautiful and just divine. So I want you to really fall into full trust in that. Because most people, when you're holding a higher expectation and a cleaner energy and coming from love, most people will rise up to meet you in that energy space. All right? Now, if they don't rise up to meet you in that energy space, they're not part of your tribe. They're not part of your life. They're old. You don't need it anymore, so you let it go. So on page 3 in the file that I'm going to attach after this live stream, I've actually got 4 steps that you can take and you can follow as you're practicing implementing your boundaries, all right? So it's just a little flow chart that I created. So the first one is like, the situation occurs, right? So something, let's say you're having an argument with someone, you check in with your boundaries. Are they communicating in the way that I feel supported and respected and is part of my boundaries? So if they are, yes, we'll continue and keep speaking your truth with love and continue on that, that conversation. If they're not, you speak your truth with love. You say, I can't continue this conversation when you're not, if you're name calling me or being aggressive. I want to continue this conversation. I'm getting all tongue tied, sorry ladies. You say, I want to continue this conversation. I want to keep exploring this with you, but I can't do it when it's aggressive. I can't do it when you're name calling me. Okay? So you speak your truth with love and you implement your boundaries. Now, if that other person is unable to meet you, well, then you let it go and you walk away. All right? If that other person can meet you, well, then you continue. And of course, some other people, and I've experienced this too, I'm sure we all have, people have said, look, I'm quite triggered right now, I'm too emotional, I do want to continue the conversation with you, but let's do it in 2 hours' time, or I'm going to walk around the block first and come back. And of course, that's fine as well. Okay? So think about all the other areas of your life as well. I want to give you another quick one, because I focused mainly on communication there, but let's just say that you're in a job that you hate, right? And you feel disrespected at work and not valued and you just hate it. Well, you know, from this moment forward, decide on a boundary. I will commit and look for another job if I'm not feeling respected and appreciated in my workplace. And then have a boundary and start taking action on it. That also goes hand in hand with your communication boundary. So always speak your truth and back yourself and love yourself up. Okay? All right? So think about all the other areas. I want to give you another quick one. Let's just say you got a hobby, all right? And you love spending all your money on your hobby, you know, and you're just like, oh, but I've got these bills and what am I going to do? Well, then implement a boundary so you start to, so you remove that conflict. So you can say, look, I will only spend 20% of my budget on my hobby. Yeah? And then commit to that, because you're going to stop that internal conflict within you. Another great one with hobbies is time-wise. So I know I've done this. How many people, you know, you love either, you know, you want to read that book and just juicily fall into it and lose yourself in that novel, or you want to, you know, do some painting and you're resenting that you're not getting the time to do that. Well, implement a boundary. You know, it could be monthly or weekly, whatever suits your lifestyle and what will nurture you the most. So you can say, I will spend 2 hours a week in my hobby, and implement it. And, you know, if you've got your 2 hours and that time set aside, it doesn't matter if other people are, like, if they're putting demands on you and wanting your attention or wanting things from you. You know, you've made that commitment to yourself. You have that boundary. I do 2 hours a week on my hobby. So that can wait. The other people can wait, and you honor your boundary on that. Okay? So can you see how boundaries give you a really, I was going to say gives you a nice boundary in your life, can give you that powerful space to keep honoring yourself and honoring others. And as you're doing that, you are also teaching other people on what to expect and what not to expect from you. Okay? So think about all those areas of your life. So from finances to hobbies to the way you want to communicate with your family to, you know, how much you're going to let the kids drain you. Because let's face it, you know, us mums, I mean, our children, God bless them, and we love them unconditionally. That's not even in the equation here. We know that. But they can be little energy suckers. So think about your boundaries around your own children, okay, and your family, all right, and your workplace, how you want to drive your life. Because people will, they will rise up and they will respect them. But if you don't have them, and you don't implement them and you don't start expressing your truth around them, people don't know. You're not even giving them an opportunity to honor you. All right? Now, on page 3, I want you to read the last little bit under the little flow chart that I created, the 4 steps to follow to implement your boundaries. Because if people don't meet you in that space, you will be, you know, you may experience feelings of fear and sadness and you know, doubt. So you need to love yourself through that. Just recenter yourself, remind yourself that you're coming, you know, that you're implementing your boundaries, that you're loving yourself up, and that this is the beginning of the process of you creating what you truly desire and taking full responsibility and ownership of your life. Okay? All right. So read that last page because I've got some tips there on how to, you know, work through that fear as you implement your boundaries. And please, please just really understand and make it your default. How other people react to you is none of your business. All right? It's easier said than done, I know. But when you really embody that as truth and you practice that and you start to experiment with it, you will find you will start to have deep feelings of contentment and inner strength and love. Not only just for yourself, but for everybody around you. Okay? You're never going to find that peace and freedom without boundaries. All right? So good luck. Let me know how you go. I'd love to see some boundaries that you're going to write up. You know, post them in the group. I'll have a look at them. Share your thoughts and feelings on this. Absolutely. Now, if you're truly ready to really explore this and to really nail this step, because it is a very, well, all the live teachings that I'm going to do every Wednesday are really essential steps. And if you nail each one as we go along and really nail it, you're going to have a big shift in your life, without a doubt, without a doubt. So these are all the steps that I have taken myself. So, and they're all my own little methods and ways of doing them that have worked. And they also work for my clients, okay? So I love sharing them with you. And I've just lost my train of thought, sorry. Let me get back. Of course. So what I'm offering, and I know some of you have read this, and I put a post up a few days ago, I think on Monday, excuse me. But what I'm going to do is actually offer to go into this in writing depth. So by the in another closed group, and it's a paid group, and it's $47, all right? And it's going to be a 2-week journey. And in that time, I will do 2 more live streams of supporting and teaching and guiding you through this. You will have the complete module from the Quick Start Divine Feminine Reset. So we go into it in depth. I will also be supporting you energetically, but not just energetically, but also like through communication and in the closed secret Facebook group on supporting you to implement your boundaries and to start experimenting with this. I know that when we get outside support and someone's cheering us on and someone who's done this journey before you, it makes a huge difference. It could be, but I would go as far as saying it is the difference between you not taking action and to taking action. Because when you know someone's in your corner cheering you on, it gives you that, it's kind of like you borrow a little bit of courage from me and a bit of that, you know, that love energy from me to follow through until you can do it on your own. All right, that's what it's all about. So I'd love to see you there if you're really ready to kind of nail this. If you really are wanting to be the creatrix, you've got to nail this. That's bottom line. You've got to nail your boundaries. So if you're ready to implement, organize and establish your boundaries on a really deep level and start practicing and implementing those, then the next 2 weeks is awesome for you. I'm going to also put the payment link. What I've done, because it's 2 weeks, so we'll have 2 live streams where I will teach more in depth. You'll have the module from the Quick Start Divine Feminine Reset and all the paperwork around that and the tools and the tables, so you can really do this in a really juicy, in-depth way, really empowering way. Also, I'll be in that group every day, so you can post questions, ask me anything, get me to check your boundaries, all that stuff, and talk about your experiences as you've implemented your boundaries, all right? So that group will start probably on Monday. I'm going to put the link. It's $47. But what I've done, because it's 2 weeks, I've actually done 2 payments. So it's $23.50 for the first week and $23.50 for the next week, the second week, because you can see, oh, if this is really working for me, is it really what I want? If it is, well, then you can continue. And if it's not, well, then you can cancel the payment. So the I'll put the payment link in the comments below as well. And so there'll be 2 payments of $23.50 coming out, okay, over the next 2 weeks. Makes it really affordable. For anyone overseas, this is Australian dollars. So it's really, really affordable. At the moment, I've got it at 47, so I'm just going to see how this expands and grows. I'm holding the intention that this is going to really expand quite, you know, as infinite as what the divine and in alignment with my soul and in alignment with the divine of what it needs to be. So the more numbers we get in and the more ladies we get participating, I can keep dropping the price. All right? And I really love that idea. So the more we get, more participation we get, the cheaper it's going to be. And this is powerful stuff, ladies. It's you are going to have shift if you participate in this, without a doubt. Okay, so I'll pop the link down below. If you have any questions, pop your questions down. I'll answer them. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you some insight. It is just an introduction. It's just, you know, to get you thinking about how powerful boundaries are and the necessity of those. All right, ladies. And also, I will attach the file, so make sure you go check that out. Lots of love. Have a wonderful rest of the day. It's I'm really quite. You can see I've got my knitted scarf on because it's actually quite cold in here today. So wherever you are, I hope you're warm. All right, lots of love. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.